Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you are, in whichever realms of existence you are, whatever mind states you're in, whatever conditions you're in, you are, as always, welcome to my channel. Welcome to the ocean of the vow. Anyway, well, tonight, I'm doing another video related to another dream or set of dreams that was actually incubated by the other video, making the other video. That same night, I had another dream related to my previous episode, the previous video that I made, the previous subject matter of that. Um, and so I guess I had to make another video about the rest of the topics that I mentioned in the other video, or some of them at least. Um, um, so so the dreams I had were, it was like, it was either one dream or a series of dreams throughout the night. I'm not sure, where there were like these, as you can kind of see here, four different roads. Now, this isn't what I saw in my dream, but I created this image here on Night Cafe AI Studio platform. So just to have it, just to have something that had four different roads. And so, um, and in each part of this dream, I was on a different road, but it was like almost like a different world or a whole different scenario and story. It wasn't like in the same dream. I just was, was on this road and I was on that road within the same kind of dream narrative. It was completely different situation and narrative, etc. Similar to another dream I had, but anyway, where it took me through different, world scenarios. But anyway, this one, and each of these roads I was on, it was different times and different places. Sometimes it was nighttime, sometimes daytime, and some of it was uh, up going kind of up a large hill. Others were going downhill. Just each one had a very different character to it, and kind of I would say different time periods. It felt like of my life time or in the world, somehow different time periods. Anyway, um, and each one of them, in each one of these, when I was walking on this road, or traveling on each of the roads, in my mind, must have been so much in my mind that, I really enjoyed making that last video I made, my last episode of Dharma Dreaming, that it just stayed with me. And so on each of these roads, I was kind of thinking about, like, this, trying to figure out, the different ways of that the framing Buddhist cosmology, framing, how reality, how how reality, what reality is made up of, as it were, in Buddhist cosmology, in the different ways. So I've, framed it like, a couple of different ways. Last time I went over, because that was what was in, um, that's what came up in the previous dream that I talked about in the previous episode of Dharma Dream. And so, um, so I think I'll just share my screen now, actually, so I can just easily see all this instead of. Um, so in the, let's make sure I get the right page. Yeah, go. Right. So in the previous episode, in that I read that was where I was discussing that other dream I had that was like in an art gallery where I was where the gallery consisted of all these different booths, and you'd go into these booths and it was a completely immersive kind of experience, engaging all of your senses, all of your mind. And you were completely surrounded by artworks and mirrors reflecting at each other, and sounds and smells and sights and even tactile experience, and probably mental experiences. So, and it was all the impression I got. And I said that I could hear kind of my thoughts, or I could hear through a speaker, or, or in the headphones, teachings about, 3,000 worlds in a single moment of time, or, that this was trying to illustrate that. But actually, I didn't really express that well, because it was actually the impression I got. It was that it wasn't just these verbal things coming through about the teachings in the dream. It was the booth itself was meant to give you the teaching about the makeup of reality in Buddhist, according to Buddhist teaching, that kind of thing. And these are the things that came to mind: was the five dharmas, the three self natures, the 3,000 words in a single moment of time, the 12 Nidanas, three marks of existence, which are kind of the 12 Nidanas and the 12 Nidanas and the dependent origination. And then also the three marks of Buddha nature actually came to mind. I remembered through these dreams, I remembered that in the other dream, another way to frame it was the Tathagata Garbha, the Buddha nature found, kind of aspect of Buddhist teaching around the true reality, as it were. It's hard to put these words in, to put these concepts or these teachings in words properly, but and as well as the three marks of existence related to what the makeup of our reality is. So, and it was kind of like these four roads I was on in the dream, that this is what they look like. Oh, by the way, I quite like how these two on the bottom have these things sort of in the air, floating around, like Vimana or something, floating around in there. I didn't even put that in description. The AI just did that itself. But anyway, so the four in this dream I had, that was incubated by doing the video of the description of the other dream, where I was in these these immersive booths in this art gallery. It was kind of like, while I was on each road, I was kind of thinking, okay, I was thinking about the three the three self natures, and the five dharmas, and how that works and fits together in Buddhist teaching. And then when I was on another road, I was thinking about the 3,000 world, Ichen and Sanzen, the 3,000 worlds in a single moment of, time, or a single thought moment. And I was thinking also about, the one thought moment in Jodo Shinshu teaching, and all of this. And then in another road, I was thinking about the 12 Nidanas and dependent origination, and how that kind of fits with Buddhist teaching, and how that. And then the other road, I was thinking about the three marks of existence and Buddha nature. So it was like, and that was what more or less was going on in the dream. And I remember when I would get to a destination and on these roads somewhere, catching up with the people I was going to be doing stuff with, I was like talking to them about it, or they were talking to me about these different teaching. So it was like, well, and I said in the last episode, oh, well, I may or may not make a follow-up video to this, but I guess I am. And it's really not just a follow-up video. It's another dream, yet a different dream that I had. So tonight in this video, I'll do the other two sections. I'll do a reading of the other two teachings, groupings of teachings that I was gonna try to fit into the other video, but couldn't, just for time's sake. So I'm gonna do it tonight. So I'll do some readings first around the 12 Nidanas, and that's gonna be from the Buddhism Guide website. And this is all, I'm doing this all, fair use. Fair use, copyright owners are the owners of this website, and not doing this for profit. So it's just for educational purposes. So yeah, so just read this then. So the 12 Nidanas. 12 Nidanas, whoops, so come back. And I think I'll blow this up bigger for you guys. As in making the screen bigger. Just in case anybody's listening is going to freak out by the terminology I just used, I'm just talking about, figuratively speaking, making the screen bigger by saying blow it up. Anyway. So, the 12 Nidanas, and that's Pali for, or the Pali for Nidana is foundation. It means foundation. Nidana is a Pali word, I guess, and it means foundation, source, or origin. So the 12 Nidanas are the adaptation of the Buddhist concept of pratitya samutpada, dependent origination. The 12 Nidanas are employed in the analysis of phenomena according to the principle of pratitya samutpada. The aim of the 12 Nidanas analysis is to reveal the origin of phenomena and the feedback loop of conditioning and causation that leads to suffering in current and future lives. So the other thing I want to say quickly too is different schools of Buddhism have different interpretations of all these things. I just like to use different websites and just have different, just have that broader view, that broader Buddhist big tent understanding. Obviously, I'm going to be seeing this all through the Dharma path, the Dharma, the Dharma guidance of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, or interpretation of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism is the way I'm going to see these things. But anyway, I just like to say that different schools of Buddhism have different interpretations of all these different things. So, okay, summary. The basic principle of pratitya samutpada and the 12 Nidanas is to see the conditioned causal connection of each state that supports the next in the cycle of our lives as we suffer in samsara. It is explained in detail in the Visuddhimagga of Buddha-Dharma, the central text of the Mahavihara commentarial tradition. Whew. That was a mouthful in a few mouthfuls in one sentence. So yes, and Buddha-Dharma, let's just go to that website for a second, that page for a second. Yeah, Buddha-Dharma was a 5th century Indian Theravada Buddhist commentator and scholar. Buddha-Dharma means voice of the Buddha. in polykinetics. I just give that. That's who that is referring to. The causal chain of analysis employed in this type of analysis appears to operate from the position that individual phenomena are caused or conditioned only by a single cause. This reflects not a blanket declaration by Buddha Shakyamuni or the Theravada commentators that individual phenomena can have only a single cause, but rather a simplifying assumption employed to make the analytical technique more useful to the practitioner. Like many of the techniques and theories in the Visuddhimagga and other commentarial works, the 12 Nidana analysis was intended to be used as one of many techniques available to a student of meditation, and its form reflects both the needs and the experiences of Buddhist meditation practitioners. The chain of 12 phenomena leading to future births and suffering was variously represented by the Buddha. Buddhaghosa recounts 4 methods: working from bottom to top, working from the middle to the top, working from top to bottom, and working from the middle to the source. Buddhaghosa compares the teaching of the 12 Nidanas to a creeper vine that is seized and removed in one of 4 different ways. The first method begins with ignorance and proceeds to sickness, old age, and death. The second method begins with attachment and proceeds to birth. The third method begins with birth and proceeds back to ignorance. The fourth method begins with attachment and proceeds to ignorance. So the other thing I want to say is the reason I'm going to the 12 Nidana as kind of part, because this is kind of partly what is the sort of process that makes up, that brings us into, that brings us from our karma into our, say, current rebirth, and is the ongoing process that keeps us there. It is kind of, so it's like the underlying process, I guess, that through which our reality is, our so-called reality is created. In our ignorance and via our karmic causes and conditions and on all of that. So anyway, that's why I included as part of the previous, it was why it was kind of part of that previous dream, I think, and why I'm including it now in this discussion, because it's kind of part of the makeup. It's how it comes about, how it kind of explains how the reality comes about. Anyway. Don't know if I'm putting that very well, but anyways. So the 12 Nidana, ignorance, and that's Pali Avijja. Oh no, I'm not going to even try this. So the 12 Nidana, just going on to this next section here, the 12 Nidana, ignorance. Ignorance of 4 noble truths, 3 marks of existence, 5 skandhas, karma, and pratitya samutpada. This is the primary cause of dukkha, suffering, dissatisfaction, pain, unease, etc. Mental formations. Mental formations and volitional will. Mental constructs based on a non-existent I or self. Dualistic consciousness. Various states of consciousness. Name and form. Nama, the naming activity of the discursive mind, and rupa, its attendant form, without which mind cannot exist. 6 sense gates. The 6 senses are eye seeing, ear hearing, nose smelling, tongue taste, skin touch, mind thought. You can see why in that, especially that other video where all the senses were involved in that, in that experience of the art gallery. You can see why the 12 Nidanas were obviously come to mind. Apart from the five senses, which we are with Apart from the five senses which we are familiar with, in Buddhism, the sixth sense is the mind. The object of mind is thought. Sadayatana refers Sadayatana refers specifically to the six sense organs. Okay, and the next one is contact. Contact between the eye and tree, between the ear and drum, nose and perfume, tongue and salt, skin and cut, mind and thought. So it's all connected. It's all dependently arising, as it were. Sensation. Sensation refers to the quality of feeling. It is pleasant, unpleasant, is it unpleasant, or neutral? Swimming on a hot day, pleasant. Sharp stones under a bare foot, unpleasant. Bum on a chair, neutral. Although some people would have various reactions to a bum on a chair, I guess. Some would have compassion, others would not be compassionate, depending on their own, karmic causes and conditions, background, makeup, what have you. Anyway, craving or desire. Desire is sometimes described as the cause of suffering, a constant dissatisfaction, frustration. Attachment of all kinds to persons, to life, material comfort, pleasant sensations, to unpleasant sensations too. There is also attachment to beliefs, thoughts, ideas, ideologies, sometimes resulting in clashes, confrontations, fighting, or even wars. Yes, that one we're all very familiar with in recent months, years, and decades. Becoming. The steps or actions taken to recreate that which was craved or desired in step 8 above. Tana. Let's look at that. It's got a Tana. Tana translations. Tana translates as desire, craving, thirst, want, longing, yearning. As with many Buddhist terms, they have no direct translation into English. We therefore have to use several terms to try and fully describe the original meaning. So that just goes into explanation of, so just come back quickly. Anyway, birth. Bearing fruit of the previous 10 steps, that which was desired and conditioned now comes to be. And then aging, decay, and death. That which is born dies. All conditions, all experiences must end. Oh, that which is born dies. All conditions, all experiences must end. Okay. So this is a very good note here. Notes. The above is a very, very good thing that they're noting here. The above cycle is frequently seen as relating to lifetimes, which they do, but additionally and probably more relevantly, they relate to all life experiences on a daily basis. Throughout the day, we cycle through the conditioned states. The conditioned states give rise to pleasant and unpleasant, desirable and undesirable experiences. We create the existence of we crave the existence of such states if they are pleasant, or we crave their absence if they are unpleasant, etc. And then I guess it's broken into, further into the 24 types of conditions. Let's just read what this is about. Conditions, reason, source, genitor are described by the Visuddhimagga as the same. Conditioning as agent means to cause it, being taken as an object by it, to occur in the same time. The full list helps to consider many sorts of conditions, as the causal condition is only one of them. Examples are explained to understand these conditions, but they are included in the next section in order not to repeat them. Anyway, let's read these. I'm sure it all kind of relates. So here we go. 24 types of conditions. Causal, both a condition and a cause. Each condition responds to the principle to be each condition responds to this principle to be both a condition and something else. Note that a cause does not transmit any substance. See the 3 marks of existence, which we will in a bit. Object, an agent that helps another one by being its object. By all that can be known can be an object condition. Predominance, an agent that helps one by mastering it. Immediacy, an agent that helps another one considering its immediate. An agent that helps another one considering its immediacy. Full immediacy, same meaning as immediacy condition. Simultaneity, an agent that helps another one by appearing on the same time as the lamp for the light. Reciprocity, agents that help themselves and consolidate themselves are one for the other's reciprocity condition. Support, an agent that helps another by being a basement for it. Strong support, a strong basement. Anteriority, an agent that helps another by appearing before it. Posteriority, and a psychic agent that helps an older and physical one, reinforcing it. Repetition, a state of mind that conditions a following and similar state of mind. Karma, an action that is an intentional effort. Result, a serene state of mind helping another one to be serene. Intake, the 4 foods, 4 quote-unquote foods. The food helps the body, but psychic foods helps associated factors. Faculty, for example, the ocular faculty helps the ocular conscience. The ocular conscience. Jhana, or I don't know if that's pronounced Yana or Jhana. The jhanas are said to be associated with some characteristics. Vitakka, Vikara, Pitta, Sukha, or the contrary, Upekkha and Ekagata. Jhanas are conditioning these. Shall we? Let me just take a quick look. Maybe we'll read a bit about each of these. So Vitakka, both in Hinduist yoga and Buddhist meditation, means the action of taking care of any object. Okay. the action of taking care of any object. Vikara means the way the mind maintains attention toward an object. Sukha. In Buddhist meditation, sukha is a type of emotion and one of the factors of jhana. It consists in a quiet happiness, while piti mentions a deep joy, rapture. Piti is deep joy, maybe with smiling, laughter, etc. Sukha is a quiet joy where you contemplate the joy and you don't respond to it by laughing, but are merely content in that joy. All the factors of the first jhana overlap to a degree. Okay. Or on the contrary, we'll go into this part of it at least. Upeka, or peska, or peksa, also upeka in Pali, is the Buddhist concept of equanimity. It is one of the four Brahmavihara, which is a subset of Kamatana. I don't think we'll go into every single thing, but equanimity is a balanced state of mind characterized by a lack of strong attachments, attractions or cravings or revulsions, aversions. In equanimity, one still notices and cares about what is going on and has the capacity to be active rather than merely reactive. It might be compared to the eye of a storm. Okay, so that's all in the context of this, one of the 24 types of conditions. The way to leave samsara. Some factors are associated with this association. The four non-physical skandhas help themselves by being associated to the same object. Dissociation. Physical and non-physical agents helping themselves by not being associated to the same object. For example, a calm state of mind helping some physical aspects to be, but not always to appear, as the dissociation condition can be anterior, posterior, or simultaneous. Existence. An agent helping another similar one by making it strong. In existence. Non-physical agents ceasing help another one to appear. See, it's always that. The coming, going, the in and out of existence. And it's all dependent on each other. Everything's dependent on, anyway. Disparition, same as the inexistence condition. Non-disparition, same as the existence condition. The whole description. Let's see if this will. I might as well finish it off. All right, the whole description. This section considers which conditions apply to which part of dependent origination. Okay, so ignorance conditions creations, activities. Activities condition consciousness. Consciousness conditions body and mind. Body and mind condition the 12 domains. During birth, the 4 psychic aggregates condition the sixth domain of simultaneity, reciprocity, support, association, result, existence, and non-disparation. 12 domains condition contact. The 5 physical domains condition the 5 physical contacts as support, anteriority, faculty, dissociation, existence, and non-disparition. Disparition. Sorry. The mental domain conditions the mental contact as simultaneity, reciprocity, support, result, intake, faculty, association, existence, and non-disparition. The visible domain conditions contact with the I as object, anteriority, existence, and non-disparition. The other exterior domains represent the same conditions. For example, the sound for the contact with the ear. Okay, contact sensation. This description considers only the 32 sensations associated to a resulting state. Contact with the eye, the nose, the ear, the mouth, or the body conditions the sensation, which are supported by the associated sensibilities as simultaneity, reciprocity, support, result, intake, association, existence, and non-disparition. Contact with the eye, nose, ear, mouth, and body also conditions the other sensations as strong support. Sensation conditions lust. The only case is the resulting and nice to have sensation conditioning craving as a strong support. Desire conditions attachment. Since sensorial lust conditions as strong support sensorial attachment. Sensorial lust conditions other attachments as simultaneity, reciprocity, support, association, existence, and non-disparition, and causal conditions. Attachment condition becoming. Every attachment conditions every becoming. The four attachments condition pure physical becoming and non-physical becoming. See dhyana and arupajhanas as strong support. Attachment conditions beneficial physical becoming as strong support. Attachment conditions pernicious becomings as simultaneity, reciprocity, support, association, existence, non-disparition, and causal conditions. Becoming conditions birth. Becoming conditions the birth as a karma and strong support condition. The birth conditions sickness, old age, and death. Birth conditions both old age, sickness, death, sorrow, and an extreme strong support condition. So you can see what makes up our reality is quite complex, and it's pretty amazing that this was, given in Buddhist teaching. All of this was given and revealed and developed in Buddhist teaching to the extent that it is to explain all these really complex causes and conditions that go into making up, how we make up our reality, basically, individually and collectively. It's actually kind of mind-blowing, but I wanted to go through all of this just to show that, just to show how complex it is, and how it all kind of works together to create our ignorance and through our karma and our ignorance and everything else, our reality. How it kind of everything colludes with it all colludes with each other somehow. Anyway, yeah. It all comes back to us and our ignorance, our karmic causes and conditions, individually and collectively. Anyway, right. So that was the 12 Nidanas and then some. So let's it didn't go over what it didn't focus, just kind of here. Let's go into, there we go. I was going to say, let's just go into the explanation of dependent arising or dependent origination or interdependent arising, etc. So pratitya samutpada. The doctrine of pratitya samutpada is Buddhism's primary contribution to metaphysics. Common to all schools of Buddhism, it states that phenomena arise together in a mutually interdependent web of cause and effect. That's what I was trying to explain with my summing up of what I just read. It is variously rendered into English as dependent origination, conditioned genesis. I quite like that. And one of the teachers that I like on YouTube, he likes to call it that. Dependent co-arising, interdependent arising, etc. Let's see how long this section is. It's not too. Let's get through as much through it as we can. So dependent origination. The enlightenment. I think this is really a key thing to go over as well. Obviously, since we're going through the 12 Nidanas, and it's certainly a part of the makeup of what we think of as reality. So, or how it comes about, or how things arise and dissipate. Anyway, so dependent origination and the idea of no self nature, this which we'll get to in hopefully in the 3 marks of existence, and Buddha nature and all that. Anyway, so the sorry about that. So dependent origination, the enlightenment or Bodhi of Buddha Gautama was simultaneously his liberation from suffering and his insight into the nature of the universe, particularly the nature of the lives of sentient beings, principally humans and animals. What the Buddha awakened to, Bodhi means to awaken, was the truth of dependent origination. This is the understanding that any phenomena exists only because of the existence of other phenomena. In an incredibly complex web of cause and effect, indeed, covering time past, time present, and time future. Because all things are thus conditioned and transient, anicca, they have no real they have no real independent identity, anatta, so do not truly exist, quote unquote, though to ordinary deluded minds, this appears to be the case. All phenomena are thus fundamentally insubstantial and empty, sunya. Wise human beings who see things as they are, or yatha bhuta nana dasana. So wise human beings who see things as they are renounce attachment and clinging and transform the energy of desire into awareness and understanding, and eventually transcend the conditioned realm of form, becoming Buddhas or Arahants. The abiding and awakening sage is not in the world as such, but has its roots. The abiding of an awakened sage is not in the world as such, but has its roots and ground in the unconditioned element, i.e. Nibbana. The foxes the foxes have holes and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has no. Oh, why? Anyway, coming back to that first sentence, the abiding of an awakened sage. I mean, it's good, they're trying to tie it in, but it's just annoying. I'm trying to read Buddhist stuff Anyway, sorry, that's just my own pet peeve. The abiding of an awakened sage is not in the world um, as such, but has its root and ground in the unconditioned element, i.e., nibbana. After his enlightenment, the Buddha Gautama referred to himself as the Tathagata, meaning one who comes from thusness, or the one thus gone, highlighting the ambiguous ontological status of one whose center of being is in the unconditioned realm. The Buddha called it uh, Amara, Amaravati, the abode of the deathless. Again, with the references to the Bible, we don't know why, to Christian stuff. Like, why do we need this? Anyway, I guess maybe it's trying to reach a broader audience or something. Anyway, with respect to the destinies of human beings and animals, dependent origination has a more specific meaning as it describes the process by which such sentient beings incarnate into any given realm and pursue their various worldly projects and activities with all the concomitant suffering involved. Among these sufferings are aging and death. Aging and death are experienced by us because birth and youth have been experienced. Without birth, there is no death. One conditions the other in a mutually dependent relationship. So that explains a lot of what we were just reading on that previous page, an article of, with the conditioned this and the conditioned that, conditions this conditions that, etc. Anyway, our becoming in the world, the process of what we call quote unquote life, is conditioned by the attachment and clinging to certain ideas and projects, such as having a family or making money. This attachment and clinging, in turn, cannot exist without craving as its condition. The Buddha understood that the Buddha understood that craving comes into being because there is a sensation in the body, which we experience as pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. When we crave certain things such as alcohol, sex, or sweet foods, it is the sensation induced by contact with the desired object that we crave rather than the object itself. Sensation is caused by contact with objects of the senses. The contact or impression made upon the senses, manifesting a sensation, is itself dependent upon the six sense organs, which themselves are dependent upon a psychophysical entity such that a human being is. Let me read that last sentence again. The contact or impression made by the senses, manifesting as sensation, is itself dependent upon the six sense organs, which themselves are dependent upon a psychophysical entity, such that a human being is. The whole process is summarized by the Buddha as follows. And then we have this whole table here. With ignorance as condition, mental formations arise. I'll just read in the English terms. You can see the Sanskrit terms here. With mental formations as condition, consciousness arises. With consciousness as condition, name and form arises. With name and form as condition, sense gates arise. With sense gates as condition, contact arises. With contact as condition, feeling arises. With feeling as condition, craving arises. With craving as condition, clinging arises. With clinging as condition, becoming arises. With becoming as a condition, birth arises. With birth as a condition, aging and death arise. I hope I read all those in the right order there at the end there, that I didn't skip a line or something. Anyway, thus the formula is such that when certain conditions are present, they give rise to subsequent conditions, which in turn give rise to other conditions, and the cyclical nature of life in samsara can be seen. This is graphically illustrated in the Wheel of Life, or the Bhava Chakra. There appears to be a widespread misunderstanding of the formula in relation to timescales. Many references made to pratitya samuppada are expressed over lifetimes. While this is true in the wider sense, more practically, this is to be seen as a daily cycle occurring from moment to moment throughout each day. Exactly. Pratitya Samutpada is one part of a group of Buddhist doctrines that work together to bring an end to suffering, or dukkha, and release from samsara. These are the three fires, the three signs of being, the Four Noble Truths, the five skandhas, and karma in parts. It's necessary to refer to the above in order to fully understand and make use of pratitya samutpada. For example, avidya, the first condition, is necessary to refer to the three signs of being for a fuller explanation and a better understanding of its fit and function with pratitya samutpada. It's also necessary to understand the three fires and how they fit in the scheme of things. A quick glance at the Wheel of Life, Bhava Chakra, you will notice that the three fires sit in the very center of the schemata and drive the whole edifice. Shall we bring a picture up of that to see if we can see those fires? Bhava Chakra. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Images. Three fires. I guess that's referring to the very center. Yeah. Oh, I can't really make this very big, can I? Let's see. Hold on. I know. Yep. There we go. Okay. So let's see here. Was it within the? Say it was in the very center. Hold on. Oh dear. Where do we go here? There we go. So it says, a quick glance at the Wheel of Life, Bhava Chakra, you will notice that the three fires sit in the very center of the schemata, then drive those. So that's kind of, I guess that's like the three poisons, I guess or is it in the same kind of place as the three poisons and are somehow related to them? Or do they mean the same thing? Three poisons are basically the three fires, I guess. Maybe. Don't know. They drive the engine because that's kind of what they do. So, all right. Well, anyway, just thought I'd. All right. And then general formulation. Yeah, I might as well finish this. I'm gonna have to do another video to get the fourth set of teachings that I wanted to go over. Between the two videos, or between the two dreams inspiring these videos. Anyway, so I'll have to do another one to cover the the three marks of existence, or the three seals and Buddha nature, or the four marks of existence and the four seals and Buddha nature in a different video, but still related to the same dream that that reminded me to do this, I guess. Anyway, in the first place. Anyway, so general formulation. A general formulation of this concept goes: with this as condition, that arises. With this not as condition, that does not arise. An example to illustrate. You go on a summer holiday to a hot climate, such as Arizona, Spain, or Australia. It's a hot, clear day, and you're sunbathing by the hotel pool with the sun beating down on you. You will begin to feel hot, sweaty, uncomfortable, and soon feel thirst. You go get yourself a drink to quench your thirst and think, it's too hot to sit here by the pool today. I'm going back to the hotel room where it's cooler to read for a while. With hot summer sun as a condition, sweat, thirst, and discomfort arises. With cool hotel room as condition, sweat, thirst, and discomfort do not arise. This draws attention to the constant flux of coming to be and ceasing to be. That is happening all the time. All phenomena are subject to this unending interaction, and since all phenomena are dependent on another phenomena, they are all transient and impermanent. So I just want to say too, one of the reasons I do these videos and the reason I want to read this stuff is for myself, to be reminded of it, to learn it, to hear it another time, another way, another place, or that I never even heard before. Because I want to learn it. As part of my listening to the Dharma, as part of my deep reflections, as part of my, my Jodo Shinshu Buddhist path. So I'm sharing that with you. That's why I do this. So anyway, so applications. The general formulation has two very well-known applications: the Four Noble Truths. The first application is to suffering, and it is known as the Four Noble Truths. 1. Dukkha. There is suffering. Suffering is an intrinsic part of life, also experienced as dissatisfaction, discontent, unhappiness, impermanence. Samudaya. There is a cause of suffering, which is attachment or desire, tama. 3. Nirodha. There is a way out of suffering, which is to eliminate attachment and desire. 4. Marga. The path that leads out of suffering is called the Noble Eightfold Path. And then 12 Nidanas. Made article 12 Nidanas, which we just read through. The other application is to the rebirth process and is known as the 12 Nidanas, or the 12 links of conditioned existence. In this application of Pratitya Samutpada, each link is conditioned by the preceding one, and it self-conditions the succeeding one. These cover 3 lives: former life, ignorance, activities which produce karma; current life, so the former life includes ignorance and activities which produce karma; current life, which includes consciousness, name and form, or personality or identity. The the 12 domains, 5 physical senses plus the mind, plus forms, sounds, thoughts, etc., etc. Contact between object and the senses, sensation, registering the contact, desire for continued contact, attachment. And then future life, which includes becoming, concept of a new life, birth, old age, and death. To understand this, it is necessary to study different sorts of conditions because only one of them is called causal condition. Per example, ignorance can determine activities as an object condition. If one decide to reduce ignorance. And then because in this life one has been ignorant and acted in such a way as to produce karma, the cycle continues round again. Nibbana, or Sanskrit nirvana, is often conceived of as stopping this cycle, or as the stopping of this cycle, or this cycle stopped, or something like that. Anyway, by removing the causes for craving, craving ceases. So with the ceasing of birth, death ceases. With the ceasing of becoming, birth ceases. And so on until with the ceasing of ignorance, no karma is produced, and the whole process of death and rebirth ceases. In fact, the opportunity for change comes between the stages of sensation and desire, which as we saw above, it is craving that drives the whole process. Since, as we saw above, it is craving that drives the whole process. If one can simply experience sensations without desiring, then craving will not arise, and one can begin to be free from the cycle of birth and death. And I think this is the last. Oh, no, not quite the last, but almost there. So, Madhya Maka and Pratitya Samutpada. Though the formulations above appear, though the formations above appear might seem to imply that not sure what this sentence is saying. I'll just read it as it is and go from there. Though the formations above appear might seem to apply, Pratitya Samutpada is straightforward causal model. In the hands of the Madhyamaka school, Pratitya Samutpada is used to demonstrate the very lack of inherent causality in a manner that appears somewhat similar to the ideas of David Hume. The conclusion of the Madhyamikas is that causation, being, must be regarded as a merely conventional truth, samvrita, and that to take it as really or essentially existing would be both a logical error and a perceptual one, arising from ignorance and a lack of spiritual insight. According to the analysis of Nagarjuna, the most prominent Madhyamika, true causality depends upon the intrinsic existence of the elements of the causal process, causes and effects, which would violate the principle of anatta, but Pratitya Samutpada, sorry, my pronunciation, I'm very tired as well. but pratitya samutpada does not imply that the apparent participants in arising are essentially real. Because of the interdependence of causes and effects, i.e., causes depend on their effects in order to be causes, and effects likewise depend on their causes in order to be effects. So I'll just read that first part of the sentence again. Because of the interdependence of causes and effects, it is quite meaningless to talk about them as existing separately. However, the strict identity of cause and effect is also refuted, since if the effect were the cause, the process of origination would not have occurred. Thus, both monistic and dualistic accounts of causation are rejected. Therefore, Nagarjuna explains that the anatta, or emptiness, of causality is demonstrated by the interdependence of cause and effect, and likewise that the interdependence, pratitya samutpada, of causality itself is demonstrated by anatta. So, right there, like the writings and the teachings of Nagarjuna, obviously not an ordinary being. Nagarjuna, that is, obviously an extraordinary being to be able to explain all of these things and see see them so precisely how it all works, and then describe that. Anyway, in his entry to the middle way, Candrakirti asserts, if a cause produces its requisite effect, then on that very account it is a cause. If no effect is produced, then in the absence of that, the cause does not exist. Just want to see who that is. So Candrakirti was an abbot of Nalanda University, and disciple of Nagarjuna, and a commentator on his works. Cool. All right, thank you. The reversibility of dependent arising. Yeah, here we go. Pratitya samutpada is most commonly used to explain how suffering arises depending on certain conditions, the implication being that if one or more of the conditions are removed, if the chain is broken, that is, suffering will cease. There is also a text in the Samyutta Nikaya in which a discussion of the conditions not for suffering but for enlightenment are given. This is sometimes glossed as transcendental dependent arising. The chain in this case is suffering, faith, gladness, rapture, tranquility, happiness, concentration, knowledge and vision of things as they really are, revulsion, dispassion, liberation, knowledge of destruction of the poisons. Won't it be nice to experience that when we become a Buddha, when we're born in the Pure Land and become a Buddha, and see all this? So, right, with that, I'm going to finish this off. So thank you for listening. Namo Amida Butsu.